All right, and welcome back. Scott Godwin, scottgodwin.net. We are going to talk about the hips. We're going to do 12 hip stretches, 12 hip exercises in 12 minutes. Okay, we're going to use that box that I just moved out of the way. A couple things to think about. Your hips, if you don't stretch your hips, they will get tight. They will get stiff over time, and you'll start to lose hip function. Okay, so from now on, I want you to start thinking about stretching, mobilizing, using your joints like you think about flossing your teeth. It's just something you have to do, and you need to do it every day. Not that long. I mean, it doesn't take you long to floss your teeth. 30 seconds, a couple minutes. So with stretching, I want you to start thinking about stretching every day, flossing every day, stretching every day, just like that, okay? Actually has a similar function. We're cleaning stuff out, we're getting rid of junk, we're getting rid of inflammation, we're helping the joints continue to move correctly, okay? And we're trying to stay loose, we're trying to keep a good range of motion, we're trying to keep good joint stability, good joint function. We want things sliding and moving properly, okay? So let's jump right in. This video is gonna be quick, okay? The box I just moved, first stretch we're going to do for the piriformis and some of the big hip muscles, we're going to do a box stretch. You can use a table, you can use a box like this if you have one. The table works well, chair works well. You're going to come up onto the box, get roughly a 90-degree angle with your knee, and then hinge forward with good posture. Lean forward like this, okay? Just like that. And you can do 10 to 30 seconds on each hip. When you're really trying to improve your flexibility, hold the stretch a little bit longer. Okay, next stretch, we call it crossover. I put this on several of my other videos for the back, keeping your back healthy. You're going to cross your right leg over your left, take it down to the right, reach back to a 45-degree angle with the opposite arm, and hold. Same leg position, dropping to the other side. Hand here, arm back like that. Stretching many different things, okay? Very good stretch for rotation, okay? So you did right over left, now you're gonna do left over right. Same pattern, just reverse it, okay? Also stretches the chest and shoulders, just like that. Another little trick, you can put your rotator cuff into play here. Put the hand up under the lower back and just pull your shoulder down. We're focused on hips, so we're stretching here, here, and then reverse the legs, do it that way. Okay, that's called a crossover stretch. So with 2 down and 10 to go. The next one, I believe they call this pigeon in yoga, and it's similar to the box stretch. You're just gonna put your leg down like this, and you're just gonna lean back and put some weight on this hip. Now, I'm not overly dogmatic about any of these stretches. I like to use the term explore the stretches. Okay, that just means you get into the position, you move around, you find, based on how it feels, what you need to do. Personally, I like to really sprawl out on this stretch and hold. Now, unlike the box stretch, you notice this angle is going to be more like a 45-degree angle. If you have bad joints, bad knees, by the way, I don't want to hear you giving up. I don't want to hear you say, oh, I can't do that. You've got to learn to modify. You've got to learn to modify the stretches and do them in a way that's more conducive to your situation. There's always a way to modify. For example, if you do have bad knees, let's pretend this knee's bad. I may not be able to bend it a whole lot, but I can keep my hands up here, keep most of my weight on my arms, and just put a more slight amount of pressure on the hip instead of going really deep with a stretch, okay? So that's called the pigeon stretch. This next one, you've all seen this, you've all done it. You can sit like this. There's really 2 stretches in one. The first one's called butterfly. Just pull your feet in close, take your elbows, and press down, okay? Just like that. 10 to 30 seconds. I like to rock a little bit in this position to really open the hips up. And then you can also do a baseball diamond. I say it looks like a diamond like this. I call it the baseball diamond. you're gonna go for the home plate straight ahead, okay? That's really more lower back there, but you're also pressing down with your elbows slightly, so less adductor and more lower back on that version. But this is the pigeon, just pushing down like that, okay? The adductor stretch. These are your adductors. They add or they bring your knees in, just like that. Those get really stiff, really tight. Now, this next series, I would recommend using a mat on. I'm actually going to do it on this hard surface because I can do it. It doesn't really bother me. But preferably, you'd want to have a mat. Okay, this is not really one you want to do without one. So put a mat out, put something soft, even use like a cushion or a towel. Straighten this leg. You're going to do several things at once here. Pull your foot back, stretch your calf, hinge forward with your spine straight, stretching the back of the leg. So you're stretching your hamstring, your calf. Then you're going to flow into a hip flexor stretch. So go right up to this, just like this, and do a pelvic tilt. So kind of pull your pelvis back. You want to feel this one in your hip flexor right there. And then from that motion, you're just going to come straight up, straighten the back leg. You can even get the palm down there on that one, just like that. So again, you can flow foot up, pull back, stretching the calf and hamstring up to this position. Doing a pelvic tilt, pulling back and stretching right here, and then right down to the leg straight like that. In this position, you want to make sure your knee is right above your ankle, okay? Breathe while you stretch. Each time you breathe out, try to go a little further. On this one, you would do both sides, okay? You get the foot out, lean forward. Same series, both sides. Hip flexor, and then down, hand on the ground, stretch, okay? All right, so we're moving right along. We're going to try to get through these 12 hip stretches in 12 minutes. By the way, I've got a lot of other videos that I've made for you. Tons of lower back stuff. Stuff on stress, stuff on motivation, eating. Try to put these out there for y'all. Had a knee video that's really been great. 12 knee exercises in 12 minutes. So take a look at some of those. Now, what about some exercises you can do to just keep your hips healthy in general? This next exercise is called crab walks. A lot of you that have been to physical therapy for hip issues, physical therapists love this exercise. So you're going to turn your feet out a little bit like this, hold a band or wrap a band around your knees, stick your butt out like this, bend your knees slightly, toes pointed out, and then just step sideways, okay? Just like that. 10 steps down, 10 steps back. If you happen to not have a band, you can go ahead and just get started doing it without a band just to get used to that lateral motion. What we're trying to work on is just some of the hip muscles that don't get worked very often. They get weak, they get stiff, they get tight. Okay, that's that lateral. It's called a crab walk. Butt out, toes out slightly, take a step, walk. Okay, just like that. Great to work the glute muscles, the smaller glute muscles. Now, what about squats? What about a deep squat stretch? Okay, let me grab a weight over here real quick. Some of you can't do squats. That's okay, because if your knees are bad, your hips are bad, I'm going to show you a way that you can actually do this that will make it easier. Okay, what you're going to do, I'm going to use my box again. This is not probably the perfect thing to show you how to do this on, but if you can't go that far down because of arthritis, because of joint issues, joint degeneration, but you want to maintain good flexibility, good range of motion, what I want you to do is find something to hold on to like this, and what that's going to do is it's going to take the weight off of your joints, okay? Preferably, you would hold on to something like a pole or some handles or something like that. But the idea is, you know, if I weigh 180 pounds, when I hold on to something, I'm only putting maybe 100 pounds on my hips and knees. So it's a lot easier to go down and hold. But approach this just like you do some of the other stretches. Hold 10 to 30 seconds, 10 to 30 seconds. And then you may actually be able to do it without holding on. You may you may be fit enough, flexible enough to do it without holding on. And then also a little bit harder way of doing it, harder than using a box or using handles, is to put a weight out in front of you to help you with the balance part. You can put the weight on the floor like that and just kind of help you with the balance. You can hold it out in front. It just kind of helps you from falling. It stabilizes you. Or again, if you don't need it, you can go here. The hardest way would be to try to reach up, arms over your head in this position. But spend some time squatting, okay? One big mistake a lot of people make, and this occurs with push-ups and shoulders too. A lot of people say, I can't do squats because my knees hurt, my hips hurt. Well, one reason, if you think about it, that your knees and your hips hurt is because you don't do squats, okay? So let's reverse the thinking on that. Instead of I can't squat because my knees and my hips hurt, let's think if I learn to squat effectively, properly, knees out a little bit, engaging your core, knees over your toes, really sitting back and opening up your hips, your knees and hips may start to feel better. Now you may already have arthritis, you may have some problems, but if you hold, if you use a weight, if you offset some of your body weight, I think you'll be able to do that. Now, what about just a simple floor exercise? What about a simple plank, okay? Think about that. That's great for your hips because you're having to use your core, your spinal muscles, your back muscles, your hip muscles. You can add this leg to it too to start working the glutes, these muscles, the butt muscles in the lateral way. So just holding that. 30 seconds to a minute on each side is great. So think about putting that into it. That's one of the 12 for sure. Now let me grab a stability ball. If you don't have a stability ball, I want you to use towels or anything you can find to squeeze on. But what we're going to do is exercise some of the adductor muscles, okay? So we're going to put the feet shoulder width apart. And then we're just going to press in against the ball like this, okay? Just press in against the ball. You've probably seen the inner and outer hip machine. You know, that machine is fine. Some people knock it. I actually like it on occasion. But this works well too. These stability balls work great for the adductors to strengthen the inner hip, inner thigh muscles. Okay, so those are great. Now what about a bridge? Why not do that? Okay, that's a very simple one you can do. Lay on the floor, raise your hips up, just like that, okay? You could even hold it at the top for 30 seconds to stretch your hip flexors. They do that in yoga classes, and it's a great way to strengthen your back, strengthen your hips, and to improve hip flexibility as you bridge and stretch your hip flexors. And then last but not least, just a very simple side step can be really, really helpful for hip stability, balance, strength, and flexibility. So this is very simple. All I want you to do is step to the side like this. Okay, this leg stays pretty straight. Soft knee, but straight. Okay, just step to the side and then step back. Okay, if you play tennis, great exercise. If you play basketball, great exercise. Even if you don't, just keep your hips agile, keep your hips flexible, strong. Being able to move laterally is very important. You've seen that theme with the crab walk, with the side plank, just stepping out, just like that. And we can add medicine balls to this. We can do some throws for more advanced trainees. You can come down. You can actually reach all the way to the floor and reach up. There's a lot of things you can do from this position. You can go side to side, one on one side, one on the other, but it is a flexibility and strength exercise all at once, okay? So let me just make sure that I've covered all 12. Yes, I did. So we got, remember, let's go back through them again. We got the box stretch, crossover, the pigeon hip stretch on the ground, butterfly, the 3 stretches in one where you're kneeling. You get the hamstring, you get the hip flexor, and then you get the leg straight hip flexor. Crab walks, We've got deep squats, we've got side planks, ball squeezes, bridges, and then that side step. Okay, so let's review the whole concept. Your hips will get weak, your hips will become stiff if you don't use them. Start thinking about flexibility as a component that you can work in a both static and dynamic way. What do I mean by that? A lot of people think of stretching as, okay, let's hold this position for 30 seconds to a minute, and then we'll hold the other leg for 30 seconds to a minute. Those stretches are fine. We call those static stretches, but also think in terms of flowing, moving flexibility. There are basically 3 different ways you can improve your flexibility. You can work on static flexibility, which is getting into a position and holding it statically without moving. But you can also work on dynamic flexibility. That will be coming up and down into a position. That is a moving flexibility. This exercise we did earlier, stepping over to the side, that's dynamic flexibility. It's very, very good for sports. And then lastly, we did not do this on this video, but I've got some other videos where I get into this. You can do active release, which would be things like foam rollers. You can use any type of hard ball, like a basketball, to do rolling, to do basically manual therapies where you're working on active release. You're actually taking something and mashing into the tissues, self-massage, active release, and that's a great way to stretch as well. And then you can use bands, you can use stretch straps to stretch your hamstrings and hips also. But those are 12 hip stretches, 12 exercises you can do in 12 minutes. No excuses, you've got 12 to do. Let me know in the video comments what you think about it, and then check out some of the other videos. ScottGodwin.net, check out my blog, my books. I'm here to help you, and let me know what you think. Stay after it, and remember, it doesn't work unless you do it. See ya.